Okay, so we're going to go through the first part of this lesson, but we're actually not going to cover the second half. We're going to go into IXL and practice the skill in IXL. And I actually used that practice skill to get a few of your questions for your quiz on Monday. All right, so but before we can jump into that, we do have to understand the different data displays and which types of data are more fitting for which data display. Okay, a pictograph shows data using pictures. This is like what you used to do in the third grade. Okay, do you guys remember the pictures and like for each book that you would see in a graph? I'll show you a few in a minute, but each book stood for 3. So then you would see 4 books, and then that's 12. All right, so a pictograph is actually like a really elementary concept. It shows data using pictures, but I also want you to write that you're going to see something like groups or sets of 5, 10, 15, 20, okay, etc. So basically, when a pictograph is the best data display to choose, you'll see that, the water bottle cases come in sets of 20. Okay, so one picture could stand for 20 water bottles. A bar graph shows data in specific categories. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to display how many students play basketball, soccer, volleyball, okay, those types of categories, or what are the 4 main colors that are people's favorite colors, some type of category, that's going to be your bar graph. A circle graph shows data as parts of a whole. All right, I also want you to write here percentages. Percentages. Okay? It shows data as percentages. So how is the whole? So a circle graph is also called a pie chart. How is the whole split up, okay, maybe into 3 pieces of that pie? And a lot of times you'll see the keyword percentages. Line graph, I want you to underline changes over time. This could be hours, days, weeks, months, years. Okay, but it's going to say over the course of 10 days or over the course of 6 months or over the course of 5 years. So the line graph shows how data changes over time. Histograms show frequencies of data values in intervals of the same size. Okay, so you're going to see something like intervals from 1 to 10. That'll be a category. 11 to 20. 21 to 30. But each interval has to be the same size. All right, so that is a histogram. Okay, any questions so far? Again, we need to know, our different options, and then we can switch over to looking at scenarios. Stem and leaf plot orders numerical data and shows how they're distributed. So on a stem and leaf plot, I can see where data is clustering, where a large group of data is located. A box and whisker plot, this is the one, this actually was an entire lesson in our 7th grade curriculum. You're not really going to see examples of this, but that shows variability of a data by using quartiles. You're not going to see that on a quiz or a test, okay? The dot plot shows the number of times each value occurs in a data set. You're not going to see a dot plot. You will see a scatter plot. Here's the keyword here. A scatter plot shows a relationship. Another word for that would be comparison. I want you to write in comparison, okay, between 2 data sets by using ordered pairs in the coordinate plane. Remember, relationship, that's our positive trend, our negative trend, no association at all. That's the relationship that we're talking about between our x values and our y values, 2 data sets. Okay? All right, any questions so far? All right, so we're not going to worry about box and whisker plots, and we're not going to worry about dot plots. Okay, those are not going to be on your quiz and test. The rest of them will be options for you. So it's either going to be multiple choice or it would be a fill in the blank, but I'm going to give you like a word bank. Okay, so you don't have to have them memorized as in I'm just going to say, okay, just answer it, but you will have to be able to recognize the clues in each problem that help me figure out the best data display. Sometimes there can be more than one, but there's only one best. All right, go ahead and close your Chromebooks for me just for a minute because you should be taking notes. Okay? All right, so what data display would show the number of students in the marching band over 10 years? I want you to write down your answer in your notes. You have your bank of options right there because you have all your terms. I want you to write down what data display would best show the number of students in a marching band over 10 years. What do you think, Colin? Why would you say line graph? Time, right? So for a line graph, it shows how data is displayed over time. So this one would be line graph. Was anybody else thinking line graph? Okay, but if you weren't, do you see why it's the line graph? Okay, because it's over time. What about a comparison? So I want you to write down your answer. I want everybody to write down an answer before we say it. A comparison of people's shoe sizes and their heights. Okay, what type of data display do you think would be best for that? Okay, write it down. Write down your answers. Okay, you guys got your answers written down? All right, anybody want to? It is a scatter plot. It is a scatter plot. What is the key word that gave away scatter plot? Comparison. It's a comparison between two types of data. People's shoe size and their heights. Okay? Scatter plot. It's the last one. It's the last one that we just went over. All right, scatter plot. Okay, now, what about the population of the United States? That should be capitalized. Okay, divided into age groups. What about the population? Huh? Go ahead. What about the population of the United States divided into age groups? What do you guys think? What is it? It's the histogram. It's the histogram. Histogram. How do I know histogram? What is the key word here? All right, divided into age groups. So maybe ages 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. But it's going to be divided into age groups. So that's going to be my histogram. Okay? All right, what about the number of students in your school who play basketball, football, soccer, or lacrosse? The number. Pictograph is going to be if it said sets of or groups of so many. Bar graph. Bar graph. Bar graph is your categories. This is just straight up categories. Basketball, football, soccer, lacrosse. You could make an argument for the circle graph, but here's why circle graph is not the best choice. Do all of the students in your school, because a circle graph has to be out of 100%, right? The whole circle. Well, all of the students in your school aren't playing a sport. Okay, so a bar graph would be the most appropriate data display. All right. Okay, so these are the types of questions that are going to come from this section on your quiz on Monday. I think you have like 4 questions on Monday from this section. All right, any questions? Okay, so while I still have the video going, I do want to talk a little bit more about your quiz. On your quiz as well, you're going to have questions about scatter plots. I want you to turn back in your notes just really quick. I just want you to highlight a few things in your notes that'll help you see what types of questions I'm going to be asking. All right, with scatter plots, do you remember where we identified relationships? We identified relationships. We said it's going to be a positive trend or a negative trend. That's going to be on your quiz. Okay? What? No. Okay, so trends with scatter plots. And also, do you guys remember in Big Ideas you had some problems where you had to look at the scatter plot and answer questions? There's going to be a couple questions on your quiz on Monday. Now, with chapters 4 and 5, or with chapter 4, those are your linear equations, okay? And we're going to, and that's basically exactly the section that you saw in your last test where you're rewriting it in slope-intercept and you're writing equations. Those are the questions that are going to be on your quiz, okay? So I just wanted to go over that. The best tool that you can use to study over the weekend is the review sheet that I posted in Big Ideas. Okay? That is your homework on Monday night. So is it your homework tonight? No. But is it going to be due on Tuesday? Yes. So why not go ahead and get started on it? So those review questions I just told you about, I put very similar questions in that Big Ideas review sheet. So go ahead and practice that Big Ideas review sheet, and that'll help you practice for your quiz. All right, everybody clear on how to get ready for your quiz? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shut down the video. That'll be everything you need to know for data displays.